All right, guys. Well, we are live at Framing the World. I really appreciate everyone tuning in. Today's stream is going to be a little different than usual. I'm actually going to be the one that's going to be interviewed for this stream. Peter Reddick, filmmaker Peter Reddick, he's going to be contacting me in a little bit, and he's going to be asking me questions. He wrote me a message and said, would like to talk to you about what it's like to be a Christian filmmaker. So I have not thought about this question at all. I've been kind of a little busy today, but I guess I'm going to be thinking about it right now. What's it like to be a Christian filmmaker? Well, that's a great question, and Peter's going to ask it in a little bit. If you don't know who Peter is, he is the guy that made the film Being Baptist. This was produced with Verity Baptist Church, and so I know Oliver Gonzalez did most of the editing and work on the film. Peter shot the entire thing, and so from the historic Anabaptist to the impact of the independent fundamental churches, Being Baptist. So it's a good film. I hope you guys check it out. We're selling it at framingtheworld.com. So if you head over to the website and just type in Baptist, then it should pop up. So right there, Being Baptist, right there. So if you want to get this, it's a good film, and you also support Peter, which is always good to do, guys, because these films cost a lot of money to make. They take a lot of time. I mean, I'm sure he spent at least 6 months, more likely a year, making this film. And so yeah, they take a ton of time. It takes a lot of energy, and it like drains you to make a film. He also made the film Censored, A War on Free Speech. It's kind of hard to read the title here, but I'll also pop that up on the screen here. You just come over here and type in Censored, and it'll pop up right there, and you can get it on framingtheworld.com. Censored, A War on Free Speech. You can get those and support Peter, support me. I really appreciate everyone's support. I just wanted to quickly just read off all the donors to the live stream show. We have Ephesius. I should really contact these people and have them, or do what? Let's do this. We're gonna do this together. Let's just go to, and this will be a great way for you guys to remember the website. So let's go to it. So right here, let's look up the definition here. Capable of having the desired result or effect, effective as a means, measure, remedy, etc. The medicine is infectious in stopping a cough. Okay, so that's the name. So how do you pronounce this word? It's driving me crazy, guys. Sorry. How to pronounce. Okay, here it is.
Efficacious.
Efficacious. I was so off.
Efficacious.
Yeah, efficacious. Efficacious service. Now, if I can remember that, efficaciousservices.com. You can go to go check that out. In memory of Timothy Cafone, Christian Cumby, Samuel Elliott, Julio Guerrero, Julio Felez, Kay Kuntz, Walter Rodriguez, Ethan Schmidt, Justin Schwartz, Orange Blood. Appreciate Orange Blood. He's probably watching the stream right now. Orange Blood is a big supporter of the show, and I appreciate him. And Preston Taylor. Those are all people who donated to the Health Matters show and donated to the Answers in Creation show. And and to this show. So those shows didn't really we're doing them, but they're kind of a different breed than we originally had in mind because of the move and the new studio. We're just kind of have to make do with listening to me being the main host, and then we'll have them on as well. So again, guys, thank you so much for supporting us. If you don't support us, you should head over to Patreon. You can do it $5 a month. It's a big help to everyone who donates. $5 is a big help. So just $5 a month, and you can help us out there. And also, you can donate to the show through the website, and I'll put the link in the description. But again, guys, we're just waiting for Peter to call, and I'm sure he'll be calling anytime. 1 minute away, and he should be calling. So we'll see how on the ball he is. But we've been doing a lot of different live streams. We have a lot of people in the works. I want to just keep this going. So I'm gonna press hard, try to do at least one live stream a day. I don't know if it's possible. I guess maybe I should say like 5 days a week. I'm gonna try to do a live stream 5 days a week. And I'd like to have like just a set time where I air them every day. So I'm still trying to figure out the best time to do that. I was having internet problems, but the internet company came out to my house yesterday, and they doubled my speed. So now I'm doing better. I'm not sure if I'm live stream capable, but on Monday I guess they're going to be upping it again. So the original people we talked to obviously didn't have a clue what they were talking about. They didn't try to help us out much at all. But these new people, I guess we have the capable to get a little higher. Not much. I think we can do a 6 upload speed, which is plenty to do a live stream. Well, it's not plenty, but it's. I like to have 10, but 6 will do good. This is my daughter, Isabella. You want to say hi, Isabella?
Hi.
How old are you, Isabella?
4.
You're 4? Who's your favorite person, Isabella?
Daddy.
Hands down, right? Daddy's your favorite person? All right. Well, hey, can you go upstairs for me, sweetie? I love you.
Love you.
All right. So, yeah, that's my sweet little girl, Isabella. Be good. All right. So, so Peter's a good guy. We've known each other for a little bit now, and he's helped me out on a few conferences. He's actually one of the producers to our new film, the Untitled film. The Secret Project film. That's what I should say. Secret Project film. He donated to that project as well, and so I'm excited. I'm excited about that movie. I wish I could tell you guys what it's about, show you guys clips of what we've got so far, because it's just turning out so awesome. But I can't yet. I gotta hold back because, I don't want. The problem is we're gonna be going. We have a trip scheduled. Well, we will have a trip scheduled once the border opens up, and we don't want to screw that trip up. And I feel like if we make a trailer or we make it known what film we're making, and then some idiot, gets a hold of the people, then the screw things up. So, Peter's 2 minutes late. There's 2 types of people in this world: people who are always early, and people who are always late. We're seeing what kind of person you are, Peter. We're seeing what kind of person you are. Still a good guy. I have a lot of friends that are just perpetually late. But all right. Well, I did tell him Michigan time. Maybe he didn't. He's having a hard time because he asked what time zone I'm in. And instead of saying what time zone I am, I like to make it really confusing on everyone. And I like to tell him what state I live in. And so he asked for the time zone. I said 11 o'clock Michigan time. So it's 11 o'clock Michigan time. It's 11:02 Michigan time. Now it's 11:03 Michigan time. And no Peter. But again, guys, if you haven't yet checked out his film Censored War on Free Speech, it's turned out great. Stronghold Baptist Church teamed up with him to make this project. Chuck Baldwin's in it. And I love Chuck Baldwin, so I hope to get him in more things. And being Baptist. But I guess we'll call him. How about that? Maybe he's confused. We'll call him.
Hey, Paul, how's it going?
Hey, Peter.
Yeah, I figure I was going to call you in about an hour, so which would have been about 11 your time.
It's 11 now, man.
Really? Oh, dang.
Yeah, so I'm glad I called. What's that?
That's why I was asking what time zone you were. I figured you were Central Time still.
See, this is the thing. I said Michigan. All you have to do is Google.
I could.
You don't know how to Google, do you?
Oh, I do. I just thought that Detroit was Central Time zone, so my bad.
No, not a big deal at all, man. I'm just joking around with you.
No worries. Hey, let me get this recorded real quick so I can. It makes it easier to transcribe.
Yeah.
There we go. So this is gonna, because I'm trying to start something different that hasn't been done before. Well, within our movement.
Yeah. So, hey, Peter, real quick, man, just so you know, also as well, I'm recording this as well.
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate that.
Okay, great. And so why don't you just tell us real quick, just kind of what you're doing and what your thoughts are about, I mean, what's your idea behind this project?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I want to start something different, especially with all this pandemic going on. It makes it very difficult to go out and film things as I normally would. And so there's a lot of things going on with a lot of different churches. And I think that a proper Christian publication, such as a digital magazine, printed magazine, such forth, would be a vital resource for a lot of people. Because even though people like to watch stuff, there's a lot of people who still enjoy reading stuff.
Yeah. Well, I've always wanted to do a magazine myself, a printed magazine that I send out to people every month, or every other month, or 3 times a year or something. It's just so expensive, and I don't know if people would actually
really
buy
it. Well, here's the thing. I mean, this is something maybe you and I could partner up on, and because I would love to partner with Framing the World on something like this. And the reason is, obviously you have a lot more resources than I do and a lot more outreach. However, I would like to get this into a printed edition, and and being that I'm doing this myself right now, I'm gonna start off simple with like a quarterly edition. Maybe digital. Well, actually, I will start off digital and then try to work into a printed edition if it gains traction.
Yeah. Well, it's a great idea. We'll see. I mean, what's your who's going to be doing the digital artwork?
Um, that would that's something I'm still working on. Most likely, it would be me and my crew that'd be doing it, as far as my marketing crew. However, if there's anyone who shows interest, and I've had people reach out to me for like um, showing interest in wanting to design cover art and stuff like that, then that would be fantastic. I might reach out to them as well.
Yeah, because it's something I'm horrible at is doing any kind of graphics.
Right.
And
Same
that
here.
that was one of the reasons why I chose not to do the magazine as well, because the cost of having to pay someone to do all those graphics would probably outweigh the proceeds that came in for the publication.
Right. Um, so, I mean, that's where I stand on this. Like I said, it's just I want to do something different. That's a challenge.
Well, that will be a
And
challenge, man, because when I did those trading cards, I had that bright idea to do the trading cards. Man, that thing ate up so much time and energy and resources and money. It cost so much to make those. Um, I don't think I'd ever do that again. But more props to you, man. It's cool that people are doing these kind of different things because um, yeah. If you make it,
well,
I would sell it.
oh,
I wouldn't
absolutely.
sell many, but I would sell a little bit.
Well, you never know. Well, here's the thing: you never know. But at the same time, I mean, it's also one of those avenues, and I'm pretty sure you can concur to this that um, if you're doing it yourself and you have the resources, I mean, realistically, it doesn't cost a whole lot to do it. If you have the know-how to do it.
If you can do
But
it
it's the
yourself, it doesn't
producing
cost
side
a
of
lot. That's the thing. If you can do it
it.
yourself, it doesn't cost a lot. It takes a ton of your
Right.
time, but
Exactly. I mean, that's the only thing you lose is time. But at the same time, that's all we have is time right now. So,
yeah.
so might as well put it to use.
Well, I think it's a great idea, Peter. So what do you want from me exactly? You wanted to interview me about what?
I wanted to interview you about what it is like being a Christian filmmaker. It's going to be more of a bio piece. Um, and starting off with a little bit about yourself, how you got into filmmaking, and then how you got into Christian filmmaking, and then leading into how that has affected you as of today.
Okay. All right. Well, are you all set? You recording?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you just kind of want to know about you gonna break that down into smaller questions?
Sure. First and foremost, can you give a little bit of history about yourself? Because there's a lot of people who know the name Paul Wittenberger throughout the movement.
Mm.
I mean, you've made, right as of right now, 10 films, working on your 11th, correct?
No, I'm working on my 10th. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And now, on your 10th film, have you disclosed any information about that yet?
No,
Or is
not
that
yet.
still
Yeah, not yet.
Okay.
Not until after our trip. As soon as our
Okay.
trip happens, then we'll do it.
Okay. So can you give me a brief bio of yourself?
Well, so my name is Paul Wittenberger. I grew up in Liberia, West Africa, in Tapita, and I grew up in a missionary home. My parents are missionaries with Baptist Bin Missions. It's
And what are your parents' names?
James and Beth Wittenberger.
Okay. And how did they become missionaries?
Well, my dad went to Christian college, so did my mom, and he went to college to become a missionary. And a pilot. So he's a helicopter and airplane pilot, and so he flew out there for for yeah,
Did he get his experience through military training or civilian training?
civilian, yeah.
Okay. Um, so you grew up in West Africa. What was that like for you?
So I was really young when I was over there. I came back at, I think I was 9 years old. So I don't remember too much, honestly. Um, but it was a constant state of war over there. Every night there would be a curfew at 6 p.m. So you'd have to be in your house or you'd be killed. There was I know when we left, we got evacuated out um, of the village we were living in, and they gave us a few warnings. The rebel forces came in and destroyed the entire town, killed everyone, and destroyed all of the buildings in the town, and pretty much wiped out the whole city. So my dad packed up what he could. He had like an hour notice. He just threw, some stuff from the drawers in the airplane, put us in there, and we, evacuated out.
Man, you got to do a documentary on yourself.
Yeah, well, like I said, I was really young, so I don't remember too much. Obviously, my brothers and sisters do, and I hear the stories all the time.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
So I have a brother and two sisters.
Okay. And are you the youngest?
Yep. Yeah, I'm the
Okay.
baby. Yep.
Okay. Um, so your dad packed up, and at that point he came to America, correct? What made him choose to come to America?
Well, he's from Wisconsin. My mom's from Michigan, and so they did what typical missionaries do. They go on furlough and raise support. So our home base was in Michigan. We went to. He was out in Africa for over 20 some years. I forget how long he was out there. Um, and so every 4 years he would come home for a year and raise money and then go back out for 4 years. I believe that's what he did. Um, so when we evacuated out, we just came back to our house in
Oh,
Michigan.
okay. Um, so how was the transition for you going from going from West Africa to living in the United States?
Um, the transition for me was easier than my sisters and brothers because they were much older and all they knew was Africa. So my sister was very much African. Um, they never wore shoes. They went from having a lot of friends living on the equator to cold weather, not having as many friends, going to public school. I think they did Christian school for a little bit, and then the Christian schooling went up to, I think, eighth grade, and then you had to transition into public school. It's a smaller town out here in Michigan, and so I think they definitely had a hard time with the transition. I but I didn't have a hard time at all. I think I just kind of went with. I was so young, 9 years old. You're pretty young.
Right. Um, okay. So yeah, okay. What was it like growing up in I mean, from then, did you have an issue, or any? Did you have any issues growing up with, um, in the United States um, with with a African culture um, um, basis growing up?
Well, I mean, luckily we moved to a really small town. So, when I graduated high school, I graduated with 99 people in my graduating class. So it's a really small town out in Michigan. Um,
Which town did you grow up in
New
Michigan?
Newaygo, Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So so yeah, it was a pretty easy transition for me. I think I just kind of jumped into it pretty quickly. However, I did lose a lot of friends, and so and a lot of things changed for me. So I guess I did also go through some teenage rebellion during that time as
Yeah.
well.
Now, do you keep in touch with any of your friends from Africa?
No, a lot of them are dead, and
Oh, I'm sorry.
well, it's no big deal. I didn't. It was really young, anyways. But yeah, the war. I don't know if you know much about the Liberian War, but it was pretty bad. I mean, during that time we were there.
Okay, and I'll make sure to edit that to where it sounds a lot more respectable. So, yeah. Um, no, hey, no worries. I want to make sure you sound good. Um, okay, so from 9 years old until today, you grew up in, or until your adulthood, you grew up in the United States in a Christian and public education system. How from there did you attend college, and how did you get into filmmaking?
Yeah. So when I was in high school, my parents bought me my first digital camera. It's like a little handheld um, camera. It was one of those, those big VHS uh,
Right.
ones. Um, they had they had that for the family camera, and then they bought me like one of those high eight little
The super.
handheld. Yeah, so I was basically filming, every day for since I don't know ninth grade. So I filmed pretty much everything I do. I have boxes and boxes and boxes of tapes from pretty much everything I've done my whole life since 9 or 10.
Um, is it? Oh, wait, let me ask you this:
Ninth grade, sorry.
is there a specific? I mean, apart from Christian filmmaking, was there a specific genre you really appreciated filming during
Yeah,
that time period?
yeah, I've always been into documentaries. I think the reason why is, I got that handheld camera and I always followed. I always like, in school I videotaped, our classes. I videotaped, you know, anything I could, everything I did, I videotaped, and so I think that just kind of made me really enjoy documentary filmmaking. And then I decided when I was in high school to join the Navy and to be a war photographer. And then I realized that the Navy, I was not going to be a war photographer for the Navy. Is the wrong branch. And the only reason I wanted to go into the Navy because two of my friends were going into the Navy.
Well, I will say this: hoorah!
So I luckily never did that. But I did always want to be a war photographer. I didn't know how to go about it, and I'm glad I didn't know how to go about it. Um, so instead, I decided to go to film school. So I went to film school in Orlando, Florida. I went to Full Sail University and did film school there.
Okay. backtracking a little bit, what made you want to have that passion to be a war photographer?
Well, I think, a lot of it stem from, my being in Africa
Hmm.
and seeing the kind of chaos that happened over there. And then my family is a very patriotic family. A lot of my family have been in the military. A lot of my cousins have been in the Navy, Marines. My cousin died in, he was a Marine. He was um, he went over to Iraq and Afghanistan and stuff like that. So I guess um, yeah, I guess that's just seemed logical to me to do that because I always enjoyed watching, History Channel stuff on World War II. What was that? So,
Oh, well, that's awesome. Um, so, I mean, you've said you had a passion for documentary filmmaking, and you went to college for it. What was that experience like?
that was awesome. Yeah, I'd definitely recommend Full Sail. They taught me a ton. Um, Obviously, it's stuff that you can learn on your own, but I think what it did is it just um, gave me the right mindset to go out and do work professionally, and it kind of led me down the path of doing film lighting. So I did lighting in Hollywood for 10 years, working on sets and music videos and movies and a lot of TV. Did a lot of TV shows. Um,
Okay. Um, did you? I mean, in Hollywood, I mean, is there anything that's different from Hollywood that there is from the Christian filmmaking, other than the obvious?
well, I'm not sure what you mean by that question.
I mean, Hollywood has a lot of, you know, clicks and stuff like that, to whereas Christian filmmaking has a lot of, everyone works together and is willing to work together.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Um, I would say Hollywood is a very tight group of people. And it's a very small group of people. Hollywood is, you think of Hollywood being so grand and so big, but really, I mean, it's a lot of, the elite crews are very tight, and it's hard to get on
Okay.
those elite crews, and there's not very many people. Like, I don't know if you could do how many people are in the 728 Lighting Guild. It's not that much.
Right.
It's not that many. So, um, and if and that being said, not only is there's not very many active ones, and so it is. Working on a film is a team effort. When you work on a Hollywood film, I would say it's even more. Well, no, I wouldn't say it's more, but it's a very team oriented kind of structure.
Okay. Um, are there any um, are there any projects you have worked on that you take pride in, and also that you regret working on?
I don't regret working on anything. I take pride in all the projects I worked on. Um, everything I did taught me what I know now, and every experience I had was awesome, and it taught me how to manage and deal with different situations. And that's why I think today I'm pretty comfortable at just showing up for an interview and being able to overcome obstacles pretty quickly, and to to set it up fast. I mean, that's kind of how I am. I like to do things fast. I like to do things good, and with what I have,
So,
obviously.
So you wouldn't. So would it be safe to assume that you would say that it doesn't matter what the project is as long as you do your job well?
Yeah. I mean, I never did anything sinful. I just showed up. I did lighting, you know. Um,
Right.
it's a job,
Okay.
and it's a very skilled job, actually.
It really is. So, what made you transpire to Christian filmmaking?
Well, um, I wouldn't really consider myself a Christian filmmaker. I am a Christian, and I do consider myself a filmmaker. So I guess technically I am a Christian filmmaker. But that's not everything I want to do in life. Because, what I want to do is I want to film things that make me happy, film things that I'm passionate about. And so I don't want to just make films for someone else. I don't want to just make films for just because they're a Christian film or anything like that. Like I want to every project I work on is something that I believe in, I love, and recently has been a lot of Christian films, but I have a lot of years left. Hopefully I'm able to make many films for years to come, and they're not going to all be Christian films. I would love to make. I have a strong passion in making films about cold case files and stuff like that. Like I would love to make murder mystery type films. Um, but you always bring into every film your worldview, and so um, just like Hollywood, they have, you know, it's not necessarily an agenda to, um, how every, it just, the people with money are usually the people who are not good people. And when you have money, you can, let me rephrase this. So I spend pretty much every dime that comes into Framing the World or comes into me back into influencing people to believe like I do. That's what I've always done. And in Hollywood, they do the exact same thing, except they have way more money to do it. So they can influence people to believe like them a lot easier because they have the resources to do it. I do what I can on a smaller scale. So I guess every project that I work on, to get to your question, every project that I work on, I want to change someone's mind about a particular subject. I want to influence them into believing something that I believe in. I strongly want to propagandize you. I want to shape your mind into what I believe. That's what I want to do. I don't know if I'm saying it exactly how I don't know if I'm phrasing it exactly how I should, but yeah, that's my goal, is to change your mind. That's my goal, is to make you think like me. And if I don't make you think like me at the end of a film, I'm mad at myself. And it seems like, every project you work on, you pour so much of yourself into it that you end up hating the film by the time it's done, because it's not. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I know, like with me, I mean, one of the passions I have is I really want to do a film, an actual cinematic film depicting, or a hybrid documentary per se, depicting the actual biblical events of the tribulational period. Now, that's almost impossible to do because it hasn't happened yet. However, taking into a fact that the Bible is one of the most violent books,
Yeah.
and
No, that'd be
detailed
awesome,
book
man. You
there.
just need tons of money to do it, but that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
that'd be awesome if you did that. You know what you'd have to do though is you'd for your first one, and this is something I've thought about because I want to do the same thing. Is you would have to do something uh, low budget, like where it's all the end times and it's all intense and violent and stuff, but you would have to make it in a setting where it's just like one or two locations and a setting that you can pull off with a low budget.
right. And just to specify, and you and I know what this is, but to specify, what do you consider low budget compared to high budget?
Well, I mean, typically a documentary that I make takes about $90,000, which is not 60 to 90, and which is a tiny bit of money. It's nothing. And
Right.
I mean, I would say a small budget, you would need at least 500,000 probably to make it decent. I mean, you can't use the film cameras we have to do that. You need to get a real camera. You need to pay for actors. You need to pay licensing fees. You need to shut down roads. You have to do it the right way.
I mean, you have to be filmed on a Red or a Lexi or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, for sure. And you'd absolutely have to do special effects if you're doing end of the world type of thing. And so,
And so, with that in mind, I mean, I know you and I both ask for money from people and sponsorships and stuff like that.
yeah. But
And
I have a
a lot
hard
of
time
people,
raising 20,000, yet alone, 100,000 or 500,000.
right? I mean, we're not Donald Trump here.
Yeah.
Um, but okay, moving on here. How did you come to in contact and to meet Pastor Stephen Anderson?
Well, I think I first heard of Pastor Anderson from a sermon he did about the pre-tribulation fraud. Um, I was researching. I grew up, like I said, in a Christian home. I always believed the pre-tribulation rapture. I was a big fan of the Left Behind series, of the Thief in the Night movie. And so when I got a little older, I decided to I wanted to understand the end times because I believed in conspiracies. I believed in all those things from a very young age because my grandpa was very conspiratorial. Um, so I had that mindset and I believed a lot of that stuff. But when I tried to understand the pre-tribulation rapture, I just couldn't wrap my head around it. And so I tried to study out the matter. I went to the internet, of course, like everyone does, started researching, listening to anyone who would talk about it, just trying to understand it. And I think that's when I came across Pastor Anderson's original Revelation series.
Okay. Um, so you saw his original Revelation series. Um, what made you want to reach out to him and actually move to Tempe to um, work for him?
Well, I never worked for him. Um, uh, I I when I was making my first film, What in the World Are They Spraying? I had an interview with Senator Karen Johnson in Arizona. And so when we went out to interview her, I thought, oh, well, we'll just stop in Phoenix on the way because I know of this pastor that I want to meet. And so I figured, oh, it was a Wednesday. I believe it was a Wednesday. I'm pretty sure it was a Wednesday. It's like, well, hey, we'll go out to church, we'll meet the guy, and then go do the interview because I think we had the interview the next morning. And we had a little bit of time to kill. So yeah, I went out and met him, and it was a very brief meeting. I think he just, said, "Hey," shook my hand, and then he like ran out the back door because he was working at the time doing electrical work, so he had to go do a job or get on the road to go do a job or something like that. And then we went. I don't know how long it was later. We went back out to Arizona to do another interview with either Karen Johnson. I think it was Karen Johnson again, or it was Gianluca Zana. Might have been Gianluca Zana. And when we went out to do that interview, we again stopped at Faithful Word to talk to him. And then at that point is when I again introduced myself and said, hey, I wanted to make a documentary about the pre-trib rapture. I asked him if he was interested. And then I think that's kind of when it all kind of happened.
So just to clarify, you wanted to make a documentary on the pre-trib rapture, correct?
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, exposing the pre-trib rapture.
Oh, okay. Just to make sure on that. So,
Yeah.
So you did your first film with him, with Pastor Anderson, which was after the tribulation, and you worked with him for I'm assuming, was it 8 years since?
Yeah, I worked with him on a number of different projects. Yeah.
Okay. How did you go about meeting your wife, Teresa?
I met her when I was in Los Angeles. I did through a dating app.
Okay.
And she is pastor's daughter as well. Her father's a pastor in California.
Okay. Gotcha. And you have currently how many children with her?
I have 5.
5 children? Okay. And I mean, she's a wonderful person. So are your children, by the way.
Thank you.
So you've currently are working on your 10th film. And is there anything you can tell about it?
So, the 10th film that we're working on right now, or what I like to call the Secret Project film, is, I believe, going to be my best film to this date. I always like to think my last film is my favorite film because, when you always try to make everything a little bit better, try to outdo yourself, try to spend a little bit more money. And so this film, I was fortunate enough to have some great people that have decided to help fund me. I had about 5 or 6 people who jumped on as producers early. Usually I don't get the money until last minute, and it makes it hard to actually make a film when you have no money the whole time you're making it. So I think this is the first film I've actually had money at the start of the process and not at the end, if that makes sense. And
Yes.
I was able to purchase better sound, better cameras, and this is the first film, and better lighting. So this is the first film that I've taken my time. I feel like, I've learned a lot in life. I feel like a lot of times I'm rushed, and my personality is I'm a people pleaser. I don't like confrontation. I don't like it's just kind of my personality. So
Which kind of contradicts the format of a documentary, but
yeah. But so I let people kind of push me around um by people trying to rush
when you mean
me.
by people, who do you mean by when you mean by people? Who do you mean by people?
Well, the interviewer, the usually it's the interviewer. Yeah, that pushes me around. Basically, what I mean by that is they try to rush me. And I don't think that they push me around. I think it's more in my head. I think I rush myself and kind of project it on them. But I always try to rush setting up, and I always cut corners, and I never make the lighting exactly how I like it, or put the cameras in exactly the right spot. And so with this new film, I made up my mind before I even started doing it. I said, I'm never doing a film like I used to. I refuse to do another film where I just rush and set it up. So I said, this time I'm going to take my time. I'm going to tell everyone before I get an interview with them that I'm going to need at least an hour to set up, and an hour for the interview, and then some teardown time. And I've stuck to my guns on that, and even if they don't have much time, I always recommend I come up with alternatives. So, for instance, if they only have an hour of time, I suggest, well, hey, can we shoot this outside so I can set up before you get there? I can set up, and then you show up, do the interview, and leave. You don't have to spend whatever time you want with me. I'll be ready as soon as you get here. I'll be ready, and so that gives me ample time to set up before the interview. So so I've been able to not only get the proper lighting for this new film, but the proper sound. So I have a boom mic now, and I boom every interview, and I make sure that it's in the right position. So I don't.
Now, so for people who don't know or don't understand, can you give a brief technical rundown of the equipment you are using and why you are using them? For those who don't understand.
Well, I think I've used DSLRs for the first 9 films I made, and I did that almost out of necessity. I wanted to have a picture camera. I love taking pictures. I'm not good at it, but I like taking pictures. And I like to video, so I bought a picture camera that does video. So I kind of compromise on that as well. And picture cameras are horrible to do documentaries with, because they don't do anything you want them to do, and they're super low quality. They're made for pictures, not for video. And so I decided, I never want to do that again. I'm going to get a film camera or a video camera. And I started doing the live stream stuff. I love Black Magic. And I absolutely love their cameras. So I'm pretty sure that I will always be a Blackmagic fan from here on out, because Blackmagic cares about the customer, not the bottom line. And so they sell stuff for reasonable prices, and they always try to outdo the competition and do better specs and everything. So now I'm using Blackmagic, and I've also, because I come from I do lighting, so I kind of come from the mindset of old Hollywood that, tungsten light. I love tungsten light. I've always used tungsten light, but tungsten light is hard to manipulate, and it's bulky, and it takes up a lot of watts. It kills your power. It costs a lot of money to run. So I've decided to move away from tungsten as well and move into new technology. And so I now only buy aperture. I love aperture lights, and I love the quality of the light. I love the look of the light. I love the customer service on the light. And so, yeah.
Okay. I know myself, I use the Dracast, the LED lights.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah. I've never heard of it, but it's just any kind of LEDs are awesome.
Right. And I mean, I've never had an issue with them, period. So, I mean, and they're low cost to run, so which I love.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, this is probably going to come out around late October, early November. So I don't know when you're making your announcement on the details of your film.
Probably not before that. I can't imagine that the borders will open up before that.
Okay. How has this, I'm just going to say it, this COVID, quote unquote, stuff affected your ability to work?
Well, COVID's definitely affected my business a lot. I almost went out of business a few months back, probably right when the COVID hit. I almost went out. I was doing bad few months leading up to that, and that was kind of like the coup de grace. But doing these live stream shows kind of picked up pace for me a little bit and got me back on track. So I would say COVID is definitely affecting me because, people are hesitant to spend money right now, and I totally understand that.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, I work in a marketing field, and it has affected me as well, where we have lost majority of our clients doing that, due to that. And so like I said, it really has played a factor.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. In regards to your wife, how does she help you out and support you in your with doing your films?
Well, my wife is a rock star, man. She helps me with every project. When I married her, she we dated for a very short period of time. We got married pretty much right after we met. I didn't know much about her. I didn't know she was like this Photoshop expert and stuff until after I married her. And then she told me she did Photoshop, but everyone says that. I just kind of felt like, oh, okay, you do Photoshop, whatever. And then I started asking her to do stuff for me, and she was just awesome at it. And so I was like, whoa. So she helps me a lot. not only with she does all my DVD art, um, but she helps me with you know, a lot of things. Yeah.
Now, there are a handful of other filmmakers within the movement. What has your experience been like working with them?
Like who? I only know
Like for
you.
example, like for example, the most prominent one you worked with that I've noticed is Matt Powell.
Hmm. Well, I wouldn't consider him a filmmaker. I don't think he considers himself a filmmaker. Um, I don't know. I like Matt. Yeah, Matt's awesome. I really enjoy working with Matt, but I think Matt's more of a voice. See, I'm not a
Oh,
voice. You don't want to hear me talk.
no, actually, I do. Um, so, what are your plans for future projects?
Well, I'm gonna make the one I'm doing now. I have to finish up the Daniel series, so I have that in the works as well. So I have those two projects that I'm working on, and I'm gonna hopefully I want to do a show. Um, I like to do things that challenge me. I like to do things that make me think. Um, Doing these live stream shows and this really put a lot of stress on me, and I think I thrive on stress. And so I love doing a show. So I'd rather not be the host of this show. I'm the host of my show out of necessity, not out of want. I would much rather have a host. But now I now I live in the boondocks, so who's gonna be the host?
Well, do you have any people in mind in your area that would make a good host?
I don't know anyone in this area, so
Oh, what about Matt Powell?
yeah, I know him. Yeah, yeah, he would be great. But his expertise is creation, evolution. And obviously, I like talking about that stuff. It interests me. It's not like the main focus of me. I'm more of a conspiracy guy, honestly.
Right? Now, you just moved from Tempe to Michigan, correct?
Yep.
Uh, what what inspired that move?
Well, my business costs a lot of money to keep up. I had to pay for not only my house but a business, and I was barely breaking even every month, and it's not a great way to live your life. Um, and so I knew I needed to cut back on cost, on spending, and it I found this house in Michigan that was the dream house for me, and I also have 5 kids that love their grandma and grandpa, and kept wanting to go see them and hang out with them. And my parents are fun, man. They are awesome. You can ask my wife. They're a lot of fun. Whenever we get together, we play card games all day long. We joke around. My family's fun. Everyone in my
Now,
family can get along. It's not like, a lot of families, they hate each other. They argue. It's awkward when they're all together. My family's not that way at all.
now, how has your family been an influence on you?
I would say my dad and mom have been the biggest influence of me in my life, of my life. I would say the other big influences, I would say the only other two influences on my life, big influences would be Dr. Kent Hovind and Pastor Steven Anderson.
Okay. Well, hey, and they've been great influences in my life too. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, like I said, I will always have respect for both of those men.
Yeah.
Now, has your field played any impact on your personal life other than living paycheck to paycheck?
What do you mean?
Like, um, what kind? I mean,
Oh, yeah, it makes it hard to have friends with anyone.
right? I mean,
It's hard
I
to
mean,
go to a church. You
right? No,
can't
other
tell
than
people what you do.
and why is that?
Well, because then they'll hate you. If you tell them, oh, hey, check out. I want people to watch my films, like my films. But at the same time, it makes a lot of people mad. My films don't, a lot of people don't like my films. And, when you go to churches and stuff, you want them to not hate you.
Okay, yeah, which I completely understand that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but being in a documentary setting, I mean, you're going to have people who like and dislike what you have to say. How have you come to um, personally accept that? In other words, I mean, when people like your film and also criticize your films, I mean, how does that affect you?
Whenever someone criticizes my films, it usually doesn't bother me at all. If they criticize the message of the film, it doesn't bother me at all. If they criticize the production of the film, that's when it bothers me. And that's when I want to do better. Because, they're actually criticizing me at that point. And I want to make it better. And a lot of times things I wish they were better when I was filming them. It's just some with filmmaking you kind of got to do with what you have when you do it. So a lot of times you don't have the money to rent those stands that you want. So you kind of have two stands and you really need 5 stands. And so you can put a light there, but you can't really shape the light. So a lot of my films, I have a light. I have a lot of lights, but I don't have any diffusion, the right proper flags and cutters and stuff like that you need to make it better. So, I've been criticized enough to now I would rather do it right.
Okay.
With less equipment
Exactly.
than have more equipment and do it wrong.
Which makes it easier on travel too.
Yeah. Well.
Well, let's put it this way, okay? Is there anyone particular that you have found that you just absolutely loved working with, and anyone in particular you just don't want to work with again?
Well, I always loved working with Pastor Anderson. That's why I worked with him so many times. And I liked working with him because he was kind of off. I kind of did it myself. Like, for instance, I don't think he even saw an edit of Deported until it was done. Same with Babylon USA. I pretty much had the whole thing done and then showed it to him. And then he pointed out a few things I could change. Same with Marching to Zion. pretty much had that whole movie done, and then he kind of looked at it and was like, yeah, you could do this, make a couple changes. But I like that hands-off approach because I hate being micromanaged. I want to make a film that I want to make. You're not paying me to make a film, so I don't want to hear your opinion unless you put it gently.
Now,
You know?
in the new film, you're not working with Pastor Anderson, primarily.
Yeah, he has nothing to
Who
do
are
with the new
you,
film.
who are you working with, and what is it like working with this person?
Yeah, I'm working with, for the new film, I'm working with Pastor Tommy McMurtry, and he's awesome. So I'm really happy with working with him. I believe we have the same vision, and so yeah, it's been good. I guess talk to me when it's all over.
Absolutely. And when everything is completed, um, how can people obtain a copy of this new secret project?
Well, so this new project, I'm gonna do it a little different. I'm gonna take it to the film festival route first before it's released, and after that, we'll do the same. If it's not picked up by anyone, we'll do the same kind of release where we do the DVD first and then to YouTube. Because I've learned in life, if you release it straight to YouTube, no one will buy it. And you can't possibly make films if no one buys your films.
Absolutely. Now, there are some people out there that would argue that the message is more important than making money. What is your opinion on that?
Those people. Okay, yeah, I would say to those people, do you go to work and expect not to be paid? Like, do you go to your job and just the message of your job is so important, you should work for free? I mean, everyone has to survive. Everyone has to pay the bills. And filmmaking is something I take very seriously. It's something I do from the moment I get up, and I get up early every day. Usually get up around 5:30, and I go to bed around midnight. I work all day long, every day. I don't mess around. I'm constantly working. That's kind of what I've always done. I've always been a worker. If you look at my dad, he's the hardest worker I've ever met. He's the same way, and he's old, and he still works nonstop. I've always been instilled a hard-working work ethic since I was a kid, and I believe that's the only way to succeed in life is to work hard. And no one's going to want your vision. You have to make them want your vision. And something I've kind of failed in the last few years. But I'm going to try to, it's something I'm trying to work on every day.
And just so people know, making these films is your primary job.
Yeah.
So, okay. Is there anything you would like to personally add that you think people would like to know?
I would like to add, and I think this is especially true in the new IFB, is that, everyone comes from a different background. Everyone has different experiences in life. And to put people in a mold and to say you have to believe exactly the way we do in every case is a foolish way to go about life, because not everyone's going to believe like you. And everyone has different experiences, different life lessons. And so I don't go around reprobating everyone for every little thing that they do wrong. Um, I have faith in a lot more people. I personally don't believe. I think we'll be shocked when we get to heaven that there were so many different people who were saved that people have damned, because I think salvation's, it's a free gift. It's believing. It's not by works. And a lot of people, they really take it too far. And just because someone has some weird doctrine, not everyone, people have weird doctrines in the Bible too. You can go down, you can believe a weird doctrine and still be saved. It doesn't mean you might change your mind about that doctrine later in life. I mean, and I think it turns off a lot of people when people just reprobate everyone for the tiniest little things. I think it turns off a lot of people, and it definitely turns off me. And that's what I've seen happen. It seems like more and more lately. It's just everybody's getting reprobated, and it's completely turns me off. I want nothing to do with it. I think we should try to make people want to come on our side. And by attacking people and by saying that they're not saved and that they're horrible people, and that's not going to get them on our side. They're not going to listen to a word we have to say after we say that. And so, I take a different approach on numerous things, and I want to shape the way people think, but I don't want to do it through force. I don't want to make you believe. I want to subtly change your mind. And so I feel like by forcing you to believe something, you will get a percentage of the population to believe you. But will it be a belief that they will embrace for a lifetime? Or will it be a belief that they believe until they hate you? And then will they change their mind? So I want to make someone, and I haven't achieved any of this. It's what I want to achieve in life. I want to shape people's minds, but I don't want to do it through the barrel of a gun. I want to do it in a way that they actually truly believe what I'm saying. If that makes sense.
Amen. Well, I want to say thank you for taking this time for this interview, and hopefully we can do it again in the future. All right.
All right, brother. Well, yeah, it was really nice talking to you. I appreciate it.
All right, I'll talk to you later, man.
All right, Peter. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
All right, guys. That was Peter Reddick, the director. I don't know what. No, he's not the director. He's the filmmaker that brought you Being Baptist and Censored War on Free Speech. So if you haven't yet checked those out, head over to our website, Framing the World, and check it out there. I really appreciate everyone's support. I appreciate everyone who has donated to our Patreon account. If you haven't yet donated to our Patreon account, guys, make sure to head over there, support me. $5 a month makes a huge difference. And so I really do encourage you to subscribe over there. Only take a few minutes of your time to sign up, and they make it's really user friendly. And not only do you give it, you get a lot for that $5. You get access to hundreds of videos that I do not have public, literally hundreds of videos that I've made unlisted. and that you can find pretty much only on Patreon. So you can do that, and you get discounts on your purchases on our store, Framing the World. So you get like 10% off. I forget what level you have to be at. I think it's just $1. If you give $1 a month, you get 10% off the store. So you make one purchase and it pays for pretty much your whole year. So I really hope you guys consider donating to Framing the World. We're also trying to raise more support through for this live stream show. So we're going to do a bunch of different live streams just like we did today here. They're always going to be a little different because like you found out today, you found out a lot of interesting things about me, stuff that I don't tell anyone. So I'm still debating whether I'm going to air this. Anyways, yeah, guys, make sure you support me over there, guys. Times are tough, I know, and that $5 makes a huge difference. So I just want to really quickly thank all of our sponsors: Preston Taylor, Justin Schwartz, Ethan Schmidt, Walter Rodriguez, Kay Kuntz, Julio Filez, Julio Guerrero, Samuel Elliott, Christian Cumby, Timothy Cafone, sorry, in memory of Timothy Cafone, and Affectious Services. I'm saying it wrong. Crap. How do you say it? I already got rid of it. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for supporting us and tuning in. Make sure you share these videos on your social media accounts. I'm not sure how long I'm going to be up on YouTube, so support me while you can, guys. I appreciate it. God bless.